So good morning, dear colleagues, dear participants. It's my pleasure to greet you all and welcome you all to this webinar on behalf of the Ludovika University of Public Service as the organizer, but also project partner in DANURELY water sector project. And we have prepared two presentations for you today. Both, of course, as you could see from the agenda, dedicated to water management, but also both addressing challenges, say some of the challenges related to climate change. So we have tried to keep the format interactive. So we hope you will find this webinar both interesting and useful. So the first presentation is to introduce, say, the institutional setup for water management in Hungary and how this system addresses or tackles challenges, including those due to climate change, like flood protection, but also environmental sustainability. And the first speaker is Dr. László Balatonyi, senior lecturer at our university, but also an expert involved in many international programs, processes, initiatives like for example, the International Hydrological Program of UNESCO, and also the European Union's strategy for the Danube region. So, László, the floor is yours, and please, deliver your presentation.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good morning for everybody. I saw so many colleagues from the US, from Slovakia as well. So on behalf of the consortium, so I would like to welcome also all of you. So I think it will be nice if you can turn on the camera. I don't know that already planned we do a kind of roundtable from the youth, but yeah, may I try to do my presentation and we can see how it goes with that. But I think since it's kind of a small group, I can do it a little bit shorter. So I think what is really important in many other activities are focusing on the youth involvement. And even if the agenda look like, okay, just we are doing the presentation and we are sharing the information. But yeah, I think next to that one is really important to see your thoughts, your feelings on that. So yeah, we can see. I think I try to be a bit shorter in terms of the presentation. And sure. we can have maybe more time for the discussion. So I didn't know who planned to join for that meeting. So it's a kind of general presentations from Hungary and on the challenges. But I think what is important, if we are talking about the water, you can see in the middle that is Hungary. That if we are talking about water and water-related risk and problems, I also would like to mention that is connecting somehow to the floods, the more water, and we are also talking about and has to talk about the drought and the water scarcity. So those type of problems can be only solved on the basin level. So I think that is one important challenges if we are talking about, for example, the climate change. Most of the problems can be solved only on the basin level. Of course, it can be a bigger or smaller basin, but we do not have to think on the administrative borders, on the country's borders. So I just put some of the maps from Hungary, and that was the main message from that one. So basically, if we are talking about Hungary, on one hand, we look like we are quite rich in surface water, but the real situation as we are in the middle of the Carpathian Basin, and most of the rivers, most of the water coming from our neighbors. So 95% approximately is coming from our neighbors. So I think may somehow that was when Hungary started and had to start to work on the water diplomacy, because we are quite keen what's happening on our neighbors, and they are especially in the upstream countries. But of course, we are also care what's happening on the downstream countries as well. So there are some informations about Hungary. So, for example, the floods can be quite various in Hungary if there is happening floods, but since we are entering to the summer, we have to also talk about the water scarcity and the drought as well. So maybe the next presentation will focus on that one especially, and maybe also one aspect of the floods and the communication in terms of comparing with the droughts is quite different, because I think if it's a flood happening, we much more have feelings what it caused. I mean, the inundation, houses can be inundated, and the people's life, how it affecting on the daily's life. But the drought and the water scarcity is way more different. I always say somehow it's silent and slowly killer. So we don't know the effect in just in time. It can have longer effect of it, the time of concentration. If we are talking about maybe the climate change, the most dangerous, and also here in Hungary are the flash floods, is a small stream, small creek. They are not expecting to have such a big floods, but it can be happen. And it's way more dangerous. We can also talk maybe on the discussion on the hydrological information exchange, especially on the border region. That is also quite important to know when it will be the flood happen and how big it will be. On the basin level, on the Danube basin level, there are many improvements in terms of the Danube hydrological forecasting system and the hydrological information exchange as well. So the countries know that we have to and must work together on the water-related issues. And there are some of basin-wide organizations that are dealing and coordinating those type of activities as well. Also some other informations from Hungary, but it can be maybe the same with other Danube basin countries. Just okay, the map is looks like has to look like different, of course, but that is what I mentioned. Many water-related risk affecting also here in Hungary. So altogether, 2/3 of the Hungarian territory is affecting somehow with the more and the less water-related risk and can be caused problems. It also means in terms of the territory, in terms of the inhabitants, we have to live together with those type of risk. And maybe also one important aspect of the risk, if we receive some kind of notification if it will be happen a flood, we can just have a couple of hours based on the time of concentration, or a few days, if we are talking about the bigger rivers, for example, the Danube. So we just have just a quite few time to prepare ourselves. So we don't have enough time to do dike improvement works or projects. So in between those two events, we can have more time to prepare our system. So some of the kind of take-home messages from can you see the slides? Slides are okay, sorry. So some of the take-home messages based on more or less 100 years data. Average floods can happen in every 2 or 3 years, significant every 5, 6 years, and some kind of extreme and close to the highest water in every 10 and 12 years. And it's somehow still looks like right information, right data, because in 2013 we had one of the blastest and the basin-wide floods on the Danube, and also in the last year happened some similar event. I mean, similar in terms of Hungary. It didn't exceed the record what was measured in 2030, but other countries, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Germany, it was more dangerous and happened many event. Just some information what is connecting to the flood hazard and risk mapping. All of the EU joint countries are doing and reviewing those type of maps. There are different type of maps based on the flood directives, and in every 6 years, all of the EU countries are reviewing those informations and data and maps. And also it's same with the water framework directive as well. So 6 years is quite big job, and there are many challenges, and that's why we need those periods as well. So some other informations on the international cooperations. I also mentioned some of the organizations what are quite important on the basin level. The International Commission on Protection for the Danube River Basin. There are also some EU-related working groups what is focusing on the water-related problems. It's not listed here, but of course I would like to also mention the Global Water Partnership in Central Eastern Europe. They are also coordinating many activities, and not only communication-related activities, also they are collecting many good project examples on what you can find on their web page as well, focusing on the nature-based solutions and many recent topic. There are also some pictures what is focused on higher level activities. For example, the Danube on the water summit. Hungary also organized 3 times. It was quite a big event, and that one is somehow changed. So each of the event had quite important topics. So it's important to collect all of the experts who are dealing on the same activities and have the network as well. Basically, some of each of the countries have different strategy how to manage the floods. There are some maps from the Hungarian flood protection dike system. So basically, Hungary is focusing on the flood protection, improve the dike system. It started since 100 or 200 years ago. But some special places where the municipality, a big city can be found nowadays is quite important, and it's required to have also nice view to the river. So that's why somehow started. We also developed some part of the area flood protection dike system, like a mobile wall, for example. But basically, we built a dike system, and that's why, and we try to keep the water in between those 2 dike sections. but yeah, along the Danube River, we didn't have enough places. So basically on the Tisza is a little bit different system. So we built also emergency dike reservoirs as well. But yeah, unfortunately, just quite few are able originally to restore the water for the drought period as well. So other countries having a different strategy how to manage the floods, some important data and information comparing with the countries. And we also changing the somehow, not always, but yeah, we based on the needs of the peoples, we are somehow slightly doing modification on the strategy of how to manage the water. Around 2000 and 2006, for example, we had such a big flood event on the Danube, on the Tisza as well, and that's why we build those type of infrastructures. But since the climate is changing, we also had to change somehow the strategy. And what we can do, we do new developments, what can be good for the changed patterns, or also somehow do the modification of the operational system as well. Because yeah, it's quite big challenge if we plan to do something, some water-related infrastructure, we are doing for at least 100 or 200 years, for example, and we had to clearly define what is the optimum parameters for those type of infrastructures. Floodplain management plans, everybody would like to enjoy the nature, to be and live as closer as it possible to the water, but it based on those type of risk map, it can be also risky, and that is what about the climate change, more risk events happening more frequently. So we just would like to enjoy the benefits of the nature and bit less care on the negative effect of it. So we just also included some of the video and movies, some maps on the Hungarian water management system. I think yeah, that can be. I think as a kind of general perspective, maybe I can make those summary from my slides. So how I mentioned, I just wanted to share some of the strategies, some of the key messages from Hungary, from Hungarian water management system. And yeah, after me, Agnes can follow those type of special type of communication activities as well. And I am more keen to see what are your feelings on that, what is your expectation from the water management or the university sector as well, because yeah, that project is focusing on the user involvement. And even if I look like a bit younger, there are more younger than me, so I'm quite keen to see the feelings and the expressions from your side as well, because definitely can be support our daily work, even at the university, or even participating on higher level event as well. So yeah, I think I just would like to more focus on your reaction and the discussion part. So that's why I made somehow shorter my presentation. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Laszlo, for this excellent presentation. And now we would love to hear your thoughts on this. So as a feedback to this presentation, any questions or comments? I have a few, by the way, but I'll come in the end. Okay, I cannot see any hands raised if I'm skilled enough actually in Zoom.
maybe they are waiting for another presentation and to collect all of the ideas and put together.
That may be the case, but still, I would like to ask you actually about, say, the practices of all Danube countries in managing floods, for example. I mean, that was a part of your presentation, and how are there differences in the approaches, and how, for example, under the umbrella of the EU strategy for the Danube region, these approaches are becoming more coordinated for the benefit of the entire basin?
Well, I would like to believe that yes. So I think I even if how I mentioned, all of the EU countries are fulfilling and doing their own activities in terms of the flood directives and water framework directives. I think what is still a kind of problem that at the end of those 6-year cycle, we just put all of the informations and the data to the one nice map, and especially on the border region, it's not good, the data and the information. I can also say maybe there are in the middle of the country they are good, but in the border region, like in the 60 kilometers or something like that, it cannot be good, or in just the special cases are they good and valid, because for example, Hungary to Croatia, I can also give that example. First, basically the border region is working as a kind of wall. So in terms of the hydrological modeling, since we didn't have enough data from the surface, from the territory, if it's kind of wall, so it's caused a kind of irrelevant inundation depth. So it's like 10 or 50 meters, but in the real situation, just flowing to the Croatian and or the Serbian part as well. It's the same with the Austrian or the Slovakian borders, somehow different. When we started to do some kind of modeling, we put some kind of dangerous point from the beginning section as well. But in the real situation, I think it's less dangerous. So there are, each of the countries are doing their own and the best job, but it really needs somehow to coordinate all of the developments, projects as well. Also the outcomes of each of the project, and there are always gaps. So but it has to base somehow on your experiences, what are the gaps. And for example, the USDR can somehow eliminate those type of gaps. So I think it's really important, and even if we are good colleagues and friends with other countries, gaps are happening, and we have to coordinate and minimize those type of gaps, but it's working if we are working together. So yeah, it's even in this cycle, it's still a challenge to how to put all of those information into the one map. So I don't know when it will be more closer to the real situation, but I also have to say that in every cycle it's getting better and better. It's also we synchronizing or making synergies with the water framework directives as well, the river basin management planning. So yeah, in every cycle we do a kind of post analysis, collecting good examples, best practices, and try to implement in the next cycle the good examples. So I don't know that give I answer for your question.
That is certainly. Okay, one more question. I mean, I'm also a water engineer with a more or less specialization in flood risk management or flood management. And I always recall the fact that, the message we convey to wide public, that 100-year, for example, return flood is happening or not. I just wonder of how existing initiatives in the Danube Basin are conveying this message to wide public that 100 flood, return period flood can occur every year, basically. So, and you certainly know that in every book we say that 100-year flood can occur every year with a certain probability. So
yeah, it's quite big challenge, and our colleagues also András solution is having a joke on that. But yeah, I think it's also one of our challenges and mission next to the technical ones, how to communicate. And even if we try to communicate as simple as it possible, somehow we also have to educate the wider public to understand, okay, on that returning period and how often can be happen. So it's kind of general message, but how what you mentioned. So it's a quite big challenge, and I think it's also changing quite well the public participation and the communication. So there are many challenges next to the technical challenges, and it's same important. And if we are talking about the use, okay, to use different type of communication channels. Okay, Facebook is not fancy anymore, so they are using, okay, not only Instagram, they are using like TikTok. So how to deliver as fast and as concrete as it can, but I really believe that also the young generation also educating themselves as well, since they are interesting in that topic, because it's happening. So it's not kind of far in the future, and nobody care on that. So those challenges are also exist, and we had to not fight, we had to work on that. So it's quite big challenge. Maybe Danka wanted to somehow add something on that, but okay, I can see the reasons. Okay, just wanted to say to you there.
Thank you, Laszlo, very much. Are there any further comments or questions? This very nice presentation.
I'm sorry if I'm coming in.
Please,
but first I see Danka raise her hand before me, so way before me. So I'll let her speak first.
Yes.
So, Dejan, may I speak? Danka is speaking. Yeah, sure. Good morning, everybody. Yes, and thank you for organizing this webinar, and Laszlo for his presentation. I have one comment and probably two questions to Laszlo. One comment was probably what Helen would like to mention, that there is an international cooperation established, and in addition to ICPDR, where we can share data and knowledge experience, there are bilateral commissions, what Laszlo mentioned about the challenge about the data. However, my comment is that probably past data will not be any more useful to approximate for the future. Yeah, as Dejan mentioned that, 100 years flood, we have it every year. And in question to Laszlo is, could you comment on, because when we are talking about flood protection, we believe that it's a business of water managers, but I see that it's not only business of water managers, but it is also urban planners, agriculture sector, forestry sector. So how you are able to deal with that in Hungary, to coordinate and concert, or is it still a challenge in communication or in strategies and policies? Have you developed to coordinate the urban planning, agriculture planning, forestry planning, and water planning? And second is, you show it on your presentation, there are two types of how to say flood protection. One is this engineering dikes, which are traditional, and we are coming 300 years later. But the concept of nature-based solutions, and you show it, give space for river. In Slovakia, for example, we have that still not in balance. There is a big, I do not call it lobby, but profession of the engineers, which trust to engineering protection, and then those who are more convinced about the nature-based solutions. So could you comment how is the situation in Hungary? Thank you.
Yes. So I also don't like to only focus on the flood protection. So I think it's way more better to use the integrated water resources management. So so that is more better expression what we are doing, because okay, floods is just, yeah, can it happen, but it's happening. But during the summer period, we have to restore the water, so we do not have to only focus on the floods, or just more to also save the water for when it's will be needed. Okay, what was the question? The first question. Just can you repeat just one? Just
yes,
okay.
Okay,
was, how to integrate? How to integrate?
Well, is it a challenge in Hungary really to make a coordinated effort of urban planners and water planners in the flood risk protection planners? Because in Slovakia, this is sometimes in contradiction, where you have a massive urbanization and you have to divert water away very fast. You then, so this is a challenge, but also the challenge is about the approaches in the, I would be very simplified, engineering versus nature-based solution. Yeah. Probably young people would be, this is a future which needs to find a balance.
Yeah, it's still a problem, but I think it started in 2019. We also tried to, educate first the mayors. So we really think, okay, what the water management are doing in general is outside of the municipalities. And if we are talking about those type of basin-wide activities, we have to be in good contact with the mayors, with the local governments as well. So it was quite big challenge and good situation that in that time we were together in the same ministry. Also, the state secretary was quite keen on water-related activities and challenges. So we educated them, made a good network as well. And at the same time, we also developed some kind of integrated municipal development plan, if I'm making the right translation for that. So to show, okay, what are the problems, what can be the problems, how can you develop your settlement, your municipality, what is required if you do some kind of development. So I think it's also getting better to involve they in the very early planning phase as well, to explain what are the challenges, what can be the challenges, what can be the possibilities as well. So I think it's getting better. And connecting to the nature-based solution is also kind of fancy topic to use those type of water-related infrastructure. So we are also promoting that one, while we try to also show what is kind of requirement if you would like to use that one. So okay, it's quite easy, can be cheap, okay, but it can be good for, I don't know, like 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years, not for 100 years, for example. It required more maintenance, for example. So also collect good examples and practices on that, and to show what can be the positive effect of it, and what is required if you would like to use that one. So it's kind of mixed situation. So I think I have to say, unfortunately, those type of risk events helping to us to involve the wider public and the different stakeholders. And I really believe that we have to work also quite a lot on that to improve as many knowledges, as many experts, and collect at the very first phase of the project, and then can be a bit more success our project, because okay, we are not doing the infrastructure because our own fun. So it has to base on the requirements of the stakeholders. But on the other hand, the needs of the stakeholders can be like -100 to +100, and it's almost impossible to do any kind of infrastructure that is good for everybody. So you have to find somehow the middle way, and to do the planning for that one, and at the same time communicate for the rest. Okay, if I wasn't able to do so in a so wider scale. So yeah, it's improving all of those what you asked. Maybe Ellen.
Thank you.
Yes, I mean, thank you, Laszlo. So I'm going to have to confess to a big sin. I came in the call too late, so I missed your presentation. So that means I'm going to have to
but you know, I think what I presented. So
I know some of the stuff, and I really like your presentations because they are very hands-on and very practical. But I just have to say, generally, the problem is also managing expectations. It's exactly what you're saying, and it's kind of like I always feel that of all the extreme weather events, floods is somehow the easiest to communicate on because it leaves physical damages that people can see afterwards. And yet I find it so complicated. So it's actually a very, so that's the first thing that I wanted to say. The second thing is I want to go back to what you and Dejan mentioned, the 100-year flood. That is like, for me, it's like communicating quantum science when I try to communicate on this 100-year flood issue. And I really wish that we could find maybe a solution, a way to communicate about it to the public in a way that they really understand that the threat is always there. Because I feel that when I talk to scientists about it, and I'm like, okay, so basically I can tell people that this flood can occur anytime. Yes, but actually it doesn't, and let's calculate and this, and I'm like, people don't have the time to understand this type of complex calculations. We need to find a really good way to communicate on that. And of course, the last thing is that we at the ICPDR really in the public participation expert group have really sort of taken up this topic of communicating on floods more and to work on strategies better. So that means that there's a lot of room for improvement. And I really appreciate that there's a workshop like this today on that topic. So yeah, that's what I wanted to bring in for a minute.
Yeah, I think in terms of connecting to the 100 years flood, I think it can be so simple that, okay, see, that is the map. What can be kind of a risky area in any time. So, but yeah, maybe that is somehow, but yeah, it's quite big challenge to communicate in the right way, because okay, that is so red or so blue. What are the differences on that? But yeah, it's really we had to also find whom to communicate, clearly identify, okay, to the 10 years old children, for example, or grammar school, high school, or to the parents of the. So it's we have to have different type of expressions. So it's big challenge. Yeah.
And one more thing, sorry, that I wanted to add, and then I'll be done. It's about it's also about kind of like, for me, it's really the role of the populations in types of floods, and I always feel that they are looking up to the authorities as if the authorities are the only actors. So maybe redefining the actors in this situation is also a key thing to do, because it kind of like, I have nothing I have to do, there's nothing I should do. The authorities have to take care of me and have to sort of like take care of the floods in my area. And why should I actually proactively do something? And I think that's like the major mistake. So maybe there is also something that we can discuss for the future about how to work on that.
Yeah, we also communicating quite well on that, because in Hungary it's written also on the water law that if you have your own property, the precipitation what is falling down, you have to manage that one. So what we also see that people are not doing their own water management job, then they are just forwarding the problems to the mayors. The mayors and the municipalities also quite well determined by they have no knowledge, they didn't have enough money to do kind of maintenance activities, and they are just going to the water management sector, to the government. So nobody's doing their own job and just pushing one level higher to the problems. And what I mentioned, okay, everybody would like to live as close as it possible to the river, but do not to calculate with any type of risk. So in Hungary, we also have a kind of joke that where is living the civil engineers. They are living up on the hill. So you can do any type of calculation, 100, 1,000 year return period, but it's better to live a bit far from the river, because it's all cases a risky area. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. And I guess it's a right moment to move on to the second presentation, although I would still have some comments on this first topic. But the second presentation will focus on how communication can support better crisis management. And particularly, this presentation will focus on droughts, an increasing, growing challenge due to climate change. And if I understood well, you will also have a chance to engage more actively during this part. But this will all be explained by our next speaker, Ms. Agnes Kovac, research fellow at our university. And Agnes, please take the floor and explain. And I guess the participants will enjoy this part as well.
Hi, good morning. I'm Agnes Kovac, and I'm working at the Faculty of Water Science on Ludovika University of Public Service. And basically, my field is communication, like risk and crisis communication in water cases, especially focusing on drought. And I'm aiming with this presentation, like once I finish, I would like that you become more sensitive about drought and drought crisis, and also how we can communicate well with the younger generation about drought or the risk of the drought period. And I also would like, as I'm dealing with communication issues about water cases, that's why I'm looking for right way. How can we reach on a better way the younger generation? How can we done the youth involvement in this kind of problems. So that's why I prepared not traditional presentation. This will be presentation when we can make technically a dialogue, because I think the communication can be more effective when we make dialogues and not just monologue about the drought or any other water issue. And of course, I would like to know more about how in your region managing the communication about drought. So that's why I will share my screen now. And yeah, and after I will ask, please join to my presentation. But first, I would like just highlight again for all everyone, like how the importance of the water. So I guess, as everybody know, a human body is more than 50% water, and the brain is around 85%. And I'm also sure everybody knows that if you lose your blood 30 or 40%, that can make a very dangerous situation. But on the same way, a loss of 15-25% of your water, that easily costs your life as well. And very common sentences, but I guess always good to remind ourselves that, like, without food you can go for 3 weeks, without water you can go for 3 days, and without air you can go for only 3 minutes. And the next couple of minutes, I would like just talk about a little bit the connection between the water and the sustainable development goals. Like everybody knows 2 goals about the water issues, like the 6 and the 14. But I would like to highlighting that the water is the origin of all of SDGs, because without water, none of goals can be achieved. And one more important information, like the reports shows there has been setback in achieving of the Sustainable Development Goals, especially the water goals. It was like step backwards and not forwards. So that's why I guess it's very actually a problem to talk about the issue what the drought can make it. So now I would like to ask everyone, please use your phone or your laptop, and please search the mentimeter.com web page. And when you find it, you can find that part of the page where you can enter the code to join to the live Menti. And you can find the number what you need to type it when you are ready. This is 74679080. Please, if you are ready with this, just you can send me a like with the Mentimeter, so I can realize I can move to the next slide. Is that working or not? I can't see any feedback.
Be able to put as link into the chat so it's easier for us to access.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that is the, okay, just a minute. I send you now the link.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope so now it will work. Okay, as I see, yeah, now everyone, or I hope everyone could join. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, I'm looking for those solutions. Oh, someone already sent me an answer. Okay, so that would be the first question of mine. How concerned about are you about freshwater shortages by 2030? It's a very interesting question, I guess. I mean, for me, because as I dealing with the communication issues, how can we reach the youth generation? But I also wonder those who working on this field, so we can call you like expert of this topic, how you can see this issue, because by my opinion, the flood more over representing in the communication in Hungary. So, okay, as we can see, you are more update in this topic. So as I can see, everybody can feel this is a real danger or a real risk. And now I would like to talk about a bit the drought as a growing ecological and social challenge. Like everybody knows that anthropogenic impact along with the climate condition are also disrupting the hydrological cycle. So that's why we can experience this faster hydrological cycle caused a lot of unpredictable, poorly managed episodic water disturbance like the flash floods, and also the increasing long periods of water scarcity. And I would like just to remind everyone that two things is very important. The one of that to maintain water security, a steady water cycle must be ensured. And another is as the water doesn't know any borders and our planet's water cycle is one. So we must to find solutions not just within the national border, but we have to cross over that border. That's why I'm very happy I can be here now and I could join to this DANURELY project. And I would like just keep my focus from now on in Europe, as is a fact. Europe's exposure to drought is high and it's a domain to dry out slowly. If we translate this fact to the language of money, because the study shows that the people can get more the communication when we speak on the language of money, that according to the study, water scarcity costs the European Union around 9 billion euros a year by 2020. And EU countries shows very different level of preparedness. And in general, we can say that in Central and Eastern Europe, drought is still not considered as a potential risk factor, and which is true for Hungary for sure. And as we know, the water demand dramatically increasing. So as we step over the 8 billion people by now, it means by 2030, demand for fresh water will exceed available supplies for 40%. And now I would like just ask a word from you that describe the impact of the drought. Maybe if you can give me an answer and after just submit, okay, that, then we can see on the screen fear, which words you can get in your mind about impact of drought. Yes, fire, fear, food loss, death. Okay, what I wanna highlight with this slide is that very important, always remind yourself the drought doesn't have any positive effects. So if you check the words on the screen, you can see those contains just negative effects. So that's why I guess we have to take more seriously this problem about drought, and more seriously the problem about how possible make right communication about drought, and which makes more difficult this situation, that is how we can make more effective communication about drought to the younger generation, to the youth generation, because as Laszlo and also Diane mentioned, the communication platforms are changed, and the communication waves need to be refreshed, because we definitely want to reach the younger generations. And I also would like to know, or I also would like that we can make a discussion about that. How well informed do you feel about your country's exposure to drought? I am not informed at all. I'm poorly informed, neutral. I'm informed. I'm very, very informed. I do not know. Okay, as I see the audience find someone well informed or informed, and some others feel like they don't have enough information, the drought situation in their own country. Yeah, and now I would like to speak about what makes communication on water issues difficult because there are some facts that make the whole communication difficult about the water issues. And I guess, or I'm sure, to make right communication or effective communication about drought is a higher level. So that is more difficult than a generally water crisis, like, for example, flood. So there are generally reasons that makes every communication steps harder in water issues. And this fact is that the communication of water crisis always remind on mortality. So the message a lot of time are deflected. And another issue of the communication is the knowledge of the population is incomplete and inaccurate about the water issues, and not just the water issues, but they are not familiar with the local water supply systems, or in an urban environment, the world beyond the taps is completely forgotten. Nobody knows how the water coming through the tap, and generally the population not really thinking about this. Maximum just when they wake up and we want to make some coffee or just get ready for the day, and the tap is totally dry. But generally they we never thinking about this these issues. And also the people knowledge of the water cycle in the landscape, it's almost nothing. And the droughts, as I guess Laszlo mentioned, it's not that dramatically how, for example, a flood coming. So the droughts unfold slowly, and they have very complex effect, and often creating a spillover crisis. And also the stakeholders are very complex, and technically we must reach the whole population of our country, because the drought can affect everyone, which make different from the flood issues or flash flood issues. And now I would like to ask, with the slide that just set a number, like how much time per week do you spend reading up on water and sustainability issues from these following sources, like education, or from the internet, or from conversation, or from news? The 0 is means like 30 minutes per week, and the 10 means like 10 or more hours per week. But as I guess we are all working on the same field, these numbers will be very high. So I would like just know how you get the information from which platforms. Yeah, what is very important for me from these answers, like, as you can see, the conversation, the value of the conversation are really important in this kind of topics. So that's why I'm looking for those solutions. How can I make a conversation not like face to face, like with one person, but how can we make conversation about drought or any other kind of water issue with a bigger group? But on that way, like, we should make a real conversation, so real dialogues, not just a presentation or a monologues. Thank you so much. And I also would like to know how satisfactory do you find the government information on drought in your country? Because in Hungary, I would say the communication about drought very poor, and we're still looking for those strategies, those techniques, those methods, how we can communicate about drought without making that basic fear in the population. They will lose their life very soon. But also somehow we could make highlighting this problem, which could be very important. And as I see in your countries also poorly or absolutely unsatisfactory the communication about this issue, which is very sad, but on the same point we can see this is something what we must change, and we must change fast or very soon, because we don't have that much time. And in the next couple of minutes, I would like to show for you some videos what one of my friend took at a very critical area of Hungary. When I say critical, I mean that critical because of the drought issue and water scarcity. And we call this religion homokátság. You can see on my screen this dark green area. This is technically between the Danube and the Tisza rivers. And the water balance has been persistently negative for several decades in this area. The area is around 9,000 square kilometers. And basically that was a continental climate, but nowadays the Mediterranean influence is increasing so much. And I guess this problem is not a unique problem in Europe. So the long-term sustainability of the rural areas is a major challenge worldwide, including Europe as well. So at the homokátság, the extreme weather conditions are intensifying with drought and also heavy rainfall, which is usually happening on the same time, which can make the farming and the agriculture more difficult, which put environmental security a very risky situation of the population who living there. This video called The Desert Where We Live, and it is possible to find on the YouTube, and totally this is a 12 minutes video what they did with a drone. Now, of course, I will not show all of 12 minutes, so I will make the video a little bit faster, but I guess it's a very nice example about how we can make the communication about drought more effective.
I'm sorry, we don't hear the sound of the video. Should there be a sound?
You can't hear the sound of the video.
At least I cannot hear it. I think it's not shared. I don't know about the others.
Maybe it was not clicked on when you shared the screen, maybe in the left bottom, but yeah.
Maybe you
But Agnes can put the link also to here, and yeah, you can enjoy the sound and also watch it again.
Okay, so I can, yes, I can send the link of the video for sure. And I don't know, to be honest, I don't really use this Zoom on the Teams, usually the voice is good, but now I can send you the link if you think that is a good solution. Can you manage to open the link and you can hear the video voice?
Yes.
Okay, so if you just click to make the video faster, you can see the whole result of the drought at the homokhátság. And maybe if you just made a quick chat, you can give me an answer for this question, like how did the video make you feel? Yeah, and this result is show what is actually my goal, just giving that feeling we need to be motivated and we need to find ways how we can change of this situation and how we can help those area with the right communication, because the youth generation just moving out from these areas, and I guess in another Eastern European countries dealing with the same problem. Okay, and now I just would like to ask your experience or opinion about this topic or about the presentation. If you have anything, you can just messaging now to me or something what you can take home from this presentation. Okay, then I would like just ask some other details. And the answer will be hidden, so nobody will see that. Okay, thank you. And two other questions about how old are you? And the last one, how many years have you spent in the education system so far? Of course, including those years what you spent in the education system as a lecturer or a professor. And this is my message for everyone, and thank you so much for the time or for your time.
Thank you, Agnes, very much. Before we move on to questions or comments to your presentation, I have noticed a comment from a participant which is related more to what Laszlo has presented. So the question is, what are the technical and institutional challenges that are impacting heavily on flood occurrence? And there is an indication that the case study is Kampala city of Uganda. So yeah, that is the question, and the participant is also welcome to say expand on this and to in asking this question. But if not, Laszlo, if you can just address this. So what are the technical and institutional challenges that are impacting heavily on flood occurrence?
Yeah, I think, yeah, maybe the technical challenges are that we are asked to face bigger and bigger floods, while at the same time, maybe not so often, but that's often happening. So it's required big infrastructure. I mean, if we are talking about the flood protection dike, so big and high dike system, but maybe 1 or 2 years it will have just low water. So I think if just the technical challenges are the optimization, if I would like to say that one, because I think it will look like a quite strange to have a big dike system, and at the same time during the year, 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, it just not exceeds it. But if it needed to have enough high, then it's needed. So that is the technical challenges to build for a higher safety, and at the same time to maybe educate the people. Okay, if it was a bit lower in terms of the financial optimization and in terms of the other optimization as well. So that's why we would like to inform you in time if it will be exceeds that level. So I think, yeah, maybe that is, if you know what I wanted to say on that, because okay, we can build big dike, so it's not kind of a problem if there is enough space behind the dike as well, but it looks like a bit strange. But in special cases it's good to have, but most of the cases it's not required as high. So to find what is the optimum level of dike, the dike, and at the same time that is also kind of same with the reservoirs as well. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. And maybe just a question back to the participant who raised this issue, whether there are any other, say, details you would like to have responded to. Okay, if not, thanks, Laszlo, once again. And I would like to ask you, in response to the second presentation that Agnes delivered, I mean, any thoughts, any comments or questions? Are there any? We still have a couple of minutes to go. Yes, please, Andrea.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Agnes, for the presentation. Andrea from Water Research Institute, Slovakia. And I would like, because you mentioned and you provided very nice overview of the using of the water. So my question is the using of the water or droughts and agriculture, because we see in your graphs that there is a big portion for the using of the water in the agriculture sector. So if you have some experience in agriculture, how to communicate, because it's quite a big problem or challenge in the countries, and also if you have in Hungary some prioritization of the water using, because usually it's the first, if there is a real drought, so the water goes to drinking water, then maybe energy or agriculture. So if you have already set up or established the prioritization of the water use in Hungary. Thank you.
Thank you. The second question, I guess, more belongs to Laszlo, but as I know, on this point, we don't have this prioritization officially, but the agriculture is highlighted. And yeah, how can we communicate with the population who based on their life on the agriculture? Yeah, this is the question what I'm also asking, like day by day, every day, because as I mentioned, that the stakeholders are very difficult system in case of drought. So what I suppose, and now I'm just testing or try to testing the people who living on that area like they not always using those communication tools what the younger generation using day by day. So I guess we need to separate the communication waves by the age of the stakeholders. But this is a multi-stakeholder problem. So I guess for the older generation, it's still working if we going there and make some, I don't know, some presentation or make some event where we can meet those people and where we can make discussion. But for the younger generation, for sure, we must use the brand new communication tools, which means the internet, of course, and the platforms, as Laszlo mentioned, also changed. So the classical online platforms like Facebook or Instagram will not working well because the youth people already using another new generation communication tools, which means we must to highlighting the visual communication like videos, and also we have to make a very short steps to the communication because the perceptions very fast for the younger generation. So what is slowly or not based on the visual things that can catch the attention of the younger generation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more questions? We are running out of time, actually. But still, if you have some, please go ahead. Okay, if not, then this brings us to the end of this webinar. And I would like to thank you all for your participation, for your inputs, for your feedback. And well, we can only hope that today's webinar has sparked your interest in these topics and may inspire you in further thinking of these. And yeah, thank you again. All the best. I'm sure we will meet again soon within the framework of this project, DANURELY Water Sector Project, but also the other one, the larger project that we are preparing actually through this one. So I hope to see you all again very soon and yeah, working together with you again. So thank you and goodbye. If there are no more remarks, I'll just close this call.
Thank you very much.